my name's Brett, and I have a big problem. Or rather, a big event that caused a big problem. Or rather, two events and now have a lot of problems. If I confused you, well, let me tell you everything. So, this year I'm graduating from school, and I'm waiting for my prom. It's a really big event. I love Gina, and she loves me, and we decided to go to the prom together. And it's just a super event, and I'm really looking forward to it. Gina wants us to be prom king and queen, so she thought about our costumes in detail and picked out different accessories in different stores. We ended up going around all these stores and buying everything. It was long but very fun. The time we spent together really brought us closer. And then another event happened, a very unpleasant one. Quarantine. It was terrible. We're all locked in our homes and banned from going out. We miss each other terribly. Gina and I called a lot during the first few days of quarantine, but as time passed, we were tired of the situation at home. We talk less and less. The days blended together, couch, computer, kitchen, and so on all day long. Sometimes I'd call Gina, but her days were just as gray. And we were also studying for our exams, of course, and that took up a lot of time. I didn't really notice my family anymore. They seemed gray and monotonous to me too, until my grandmother called. She was very surprised to see us all on the computer screen. She said she was happy to see us all healthy and even congratulated us on the weight gain. We laughed, and after the call, I took a good look at my family. Yeah, well, 2 months of quarantine was pretty obvious on us. We really did put on weight. But how did all this happen? I thought about it and rewinded my self-isolation. I walked around in circles from room to room, and I had food in my hands all the time. Chips, sandwiches, bread, cereal, sweet bars, popcorn, corn dogs. Oh my god! I ate all the time, and judging by my family, it wasn't only me. Well, that was unexpected. What should I do? I needed to lose weight. I talked my parents into buying a treadmill. They agreed, but fate seemed to be against it. There were no treadmills in any shop, no treadmills anywhere. Everybody said they were sold out, and the next delivery wouldn't be for another month. It was a failure. Then I decided to start running around the yard, but unfortunately, I couldn't fit into my tracksuit. Too bad. This is what happens if you walk around in your pajamas all the time. I should have worn a suit at least once in a while. Suit! Oh, the prom suit! There's no way that I could fit into it now, so what was I supposed to do? Gina tried so hard and she won't forgive me. I had to get a new one. I talked my parents into going shopping at the end of quarantine. It took me a long time to remember where and what we bought. I'd been going through my chats with Gina and called her to talk and incidentally ask about the stores. She even asked me what it was for one day. Didn't I ruin my suit? I assured her right away I didn't. She sighed, as I thought with regret. The quarantine was finally over. There wasn't much time before school starts, so we went shopping. My parents were buying regular clothes, and I was packing my suit for graduation and prom. My mom assured me that I needed to talk to Gina and explain everything to her, not to buy it all over again. But I didn't think she'd forgive me. Eventually, the quest began. The problem was that everything was from different stores. I finally found the pants and jacket, picked up the right socks and shoes, and now I needed a shirt. Dad was already joking about us losing weight because of all that walking around in the stores. So I had to give up this outfit because I was going to go to the previous one. Mom recommended not to throw away the receipts in case I gain weight again, because the family will not be able to buy another costume. We came to the 5th store, and I couldn't find the right shirt anywhere. So I was offered to go to the parlor and order it there. That was the way out. I went to the nearest to home parlor, brought my shirt and asked me to make the same shirt or enlarge this one. The seamstress was very surprised. Wow, what a coincidence. They just gave me a dress the same color for the enlargement, she said. I was wondering how that could be possible. And she came out of the locker room, my Gina. It turns out she liked munching on chips too, and at the end of the quarantine she realized that the dress was getting a little too tight. But I assured her so fiercely that there was nothing wrong with my suit that she decided not to hurt me and just quickly modify the dress. We laughed at each other for a long time. The seamstress gave us a discount and even added more interesting elements to our costumes. Now we run together every morning, study for our exams, and are sure to be at our best for graduation. How was your self-isolation? Write it in the comments, leave some likes on the video, and subscribe to the
Hi, I'm Elaine. I'm 23 and fond of traveling. My father works for a tourist company. That's why since early childhood I have visited plenty of countries and seen lots of incredible places. Once I watched a film which showed a man who traveled the world by hitchhiking. The idea was so inspiring that I decided to repeat the experience of that man and travel across the United States. It was interesting, but I also understood that it was dangerous. My parents were strongly against it because they worried that something bad could happen to me. However, my motivation was too strong, and there was hardly a person who could stop me. I packed my stuff, took all the money I had, and left home. I bought a ticket to the neighboring town and set off. The neighboring town was known as a place where truck drivers often stopped on their way to other states. So I thought it would be a great place to begin with. I came to a bar for truck drivers and looked around trying to find someone who could take me on the road. I asked a waitress who was the kindest man among the truckers, and she pointed to Winnie, a big guy with long curly hair. I sat down next to him and asked where he was going. He gave me a strict look. I wondered why everyone considered him a kind man. He kept silence for a couple of minutes, then said, "Sorry, I just need to eat this burger." I smiled at him. He was polite and his voice was very pleasant. We started talking and soon I learned that nearly half of my route coincided with his one and that he would be happy to take me with him. Our trip was amazing. Winnie liked recording funny videos and told me lots of interesting road trip stories. He bought ice cream for me in each cafe and we laughed all the way. He was really the kindest man I had ever met in my life, but Nashville was the town we had to separate. We shared our last ice cream and I continued my trip. My new companion was very quiet. Too quiet, I would say. The only thing he told me was, "Okay, you can go with me." He didn't even say what his name was, but people told me he was reliable, and in case of danger, he would do everything to save me. One day, in the middle of nowhere, we were stopped by the police. They asked the driver to show his license and the documents for the cargo. I wondered why the police were working in such a place. I asked what the problem was, and they told us to leave the cabin. The driver and I went out of the cabin. Then the policeman asked to show the cargo to them. We all came up to the container, and the driver seemed to be going to open it, but suddenly he grabbed me and put a knife to my throat. I was horrified. The police realized I was just a fellow traveler, so they could not risk my life. My new bad friend made me run with him through the step. I obeyed because he was threatening to me. He told me that the policemen were actually FBI agents who followed him. They had information that he was carrying tons of drugs in his truck. In the later afternoon, we reached the end of the moor and saw a highway. I realized my companion wanted to get away from the agents and it would be a lot easier for him to do that during the night. However, I hoped that the FBI still followed us and would save me. The man was smart and started to hitchhike. He said that he would kill me and the driver if I said anything. A couple of minutes later, a truck stopped near us, and it was the truck I had already seen. We got into the cabin, and I saw Winnie. He looked at me and gave me a wink. I realized that I had to keep silence. Early in the morning, we arrived to a small town. We stopped at a gas station. Winnie went out to pay for the fuel and asked us if we were hungry. I said I was, so we all moved to the cafe. We sat at the table and ordered food. While we were waiting, I looked around. The people in the cafe looked weird to me, tense, maybe. Suddenly, a man sitting behind me attacked our drug dealer and put handcuffs on him. I couldn't believe I was safe. As it turned out, the people in the cafe were FBI agents undercover. And Winnie helped them. As soon as he knew I was hostage, he offered his assistance to the FBI. He suggested the plan and helped to implement it. Hitchhiking was the best way for the criminal to escape, so the plan worked. I decided to return home. My adventure was amazing, but I couldn't risk my life anymore. I never told my parents about what happened to me. They were shocked about the runaway thing, and the hostage story could make them crazy. And a piece of advice from me: If you have enjoyed the video, please click the like button, leave your comments, and subscribe to our channel.